What's going on? Welcome on in. We are going to be doing my top 10 quarterbacks going into the 2025 season. So basically how this is going to work is I'm going to it's more or less a prediction to predict the top 10 quarterbacks of the 2025 season. So let's honestly get right into it. I don't want to delay any. We're going to start with number 10, CJ Stroud. I was down here last year throwing for 20 touchdowns, but 12 interceptions and a QBR of 49. He still managed to win quite a few games, and I think Stroud still has the ability to evidently be up in that top 5 range where we thought he was going to be last year. But I'm going to have him at 10. I'm going to take the safe bet and put CJ Stroud at 10. I just don't know if he's good enough to pass these other guys. The NFL is full of really good quarterbacks, and I think Stroud is one of them, but I don't think he's quite up there with some of these other ones. And at number 9, I have Jared Goff. Jared Goff had a fantastic season last year, throwing 37 touchdowns and only 12 interceptions, and had a QBR of 68. And he finished 5th in MVP voting. I think Jared Goff was a top 5 quarterback pretty easily last year. I mean, he was probably, top 3, top 4, I guess, behind Burrow, Allen, and Lamar. But I do think losing his coordinators, and honestly, their O-line's gotten a little bit worse. I think the Lions and Jared Goff are going to both take a bit of a step back, and it's going to hurt him a little bit. He's going to struggle a tiny bit more this year, but I still think Jared Goff has that top 10 potential. That's why I have him at number 9. I think the guys in front of him all have a better overall team and are honestly probably more talented overall. Obviously, Jared Goff is a fantastic quarterback. But honestly, he throws a lot of interceptions. A lot of the guys in front of him just don't do that. Last year was the only time he's ever been receiving MVP votes. It's the only time he's ever had MVP votes. So everybody else in front of him, I believe, have gotten MVP votes more than once. I just cannot put Jared Goff ahead of a lot of these guys. I still think he's a fantastic quarterback, and I think he's going to be great next year still, or this coming up season. But I do think that he's going to find himself as my 9th best quarterback. And at number 8, I have Justin Herbert. Justin Herbert had 23 touchdowns, 3 interceptions with a QBR of 64. He also finished 9th in MVP voting. Justin Herbert was fantastic last year. Only three interceptions is huge. I think the biggest issue with Justin Herbert is, honestly, Jim Harbaugh is a run-first type of head coach. And I think that's going to cost him a little bit. I think it's going to hurt his overall stats. He's not going to be on the same level as some of these other guys who are going to put up crazy good stats and do crazy things. I think not Jared Goff, oh my God. Justin Herbert is going to put up a very, very good season. But I think it's going to be kind of like this one where it was a solid season. 23 touchdowns is not a ton, but it's not terrible. Again, finishing in the MVP voting is always huge. He's done it twice now. But I just don't think he's going to have the godly stats or even necessarily the record as some of these other guys, as most of the people ahead of him are Super Bowl contending quarterbacks or put up really good stats on top of that. So, I just can't put him any higher than 8. I do like Justin Herbert. I think he is going to perform pretty well this year. But I think with the way Jim's offense is usually run, he's never going to be that gaudy stat guy like a Joe Burrow or Lamar or Josh Allen. And that's why I think he's the 8th best quarterback in the NFL going into next year. And at number 7, I have Jalen Hurts. Jalen Hurts, in my opinion, is probably more like a 10 to 15 quarterback. Coming off the Super Bowl, you got to give him respect, and that's why I have him at number 7. I couldn't really move him up any higher. I know some people have him top 5, but I just cannot see that. Jalen Hurts had 18 touchdowns to 5 interceptions and a 65 QBR. He also had 15 rushing touchdowns, but a lot of that was the tush push. He didn't receive MVP votes last year, which makes some sense, but he did lead the Eagles to the Super Bowl and played a fantastic Super Bowl for that matter. And that's why he kind of falls into 7th for me. I think he is a very solid quarterback, but he's kind of a game manager. I think he will probably slide back to the back half of the top 10 unless the Eagles are just unbelievably good this year, which is a possibility. They are still a very stacked team. And as the quarterback, you're going to get the most leadway with that type of stuff. But I see people putting him in the top 5, and I just couldn't do that. 7 to me is pretty much the highest I think Jalen Hurts can go, but let me know what you guys think. And but let me know what you guys think with Jalen Hurts at 7. I know some of you guys have him higher, but I think that's a good spot for him coming off of the Super Bowl. And at number 6, I have Jayden Daniels. I think this might be a little bit of an overreaction, but because Caesar Stroud last year, we talked about him being top 5, and then we saw what season he had. Jayden Daniels could follow that, but I think he might take more of a Lamar Jackson. I think he's going to get better this year. I'm at least betting on it. Jayden Daniels threw 25 touchdowns and 9 interceptions, had a QBR of 70 last year. He also finished 7th in MVP voting. I think putting him at 6 isn't crazy. I didn't want to put him top 5. I know some people have actually done that, but we did that with CJ Stroud last year. It didn't work out. I don't think we'd do that now. I think 6 is a very good spot for Jayden Daniels. I think it fits him pretty well, and it'll keep him kind of in that mix to possibly jump into the top 5 and not be too crazy. Not too crazy of a jump. I can see him following all the way back to 10, kind of like Stroud did, or even jumping into the top 3 to 4, depending on how he performs this year. And at number 5, I have Baker Mayfield. Some of you guys might be thinking this is crazy, but Baker Mayfield threw 41 touchdowns last year. Now, he did lead the league in interceptions. That is an issue he has, but he also had a 61 QBR and 11th in MVP voting, which is fantastic. I think Baker Mayfield is taking steps forward. I think if he can just get the interceptions down, if he throws like 35 touchdowns and 6 interceptions or something, he would probably finish much higher in the MVP. But Baker Mayfield was fantastic since he's gone to Tampa Bay, and I think he just keeps taking a step forward, because even the year before, he was not quite as good as he was this year. He was fantastic this last year, and he keeps Tampa Bay in the playoff count. And honestly, I think the top 4 quarterbacks in the NFL right now are leagues ahead of 5 on back, and I think Baker is just the guy who, in my opinion, is that 5th best quarterback, but let me know what you guys think. Number 4 quarterback in the NFL is Patrick Mahomes. Patrick Mahomes, in my opinion, has taken that I'm going to just play whatever football during the regular season. We're going to win games. We're just going to not be flashy or do anything special, which is why he's my 4th best quarterback going into next year, because realistically, he put up 26 touchdowns, 11 interceptions, and a QBR of 67. He also finished 6th in MVP voting. He doesn't do anything during the regular season anymore. That's so wowing. I mean, his last MVP season was the last time he was like, oh my gosh, Patrick Mahomes is insane during the regular season. He's just so amazing in the playoffs. That's all that matters. He just balls out in the playoffs, and it just, he's so good there. Tom Brady was kind of very similar way, and I think that's kind of where the Chiefs are going with Patrick Mahomes, where he's not anything special during the regular season, but he is still really good, and they still win a ton of games. He went 15-1 during the regular season. So, I think Patrick Mahomes is currently the 4th best quarterback during the regular season. He's easily the best quarterback when you add in the playoffs, but in my opinion, this is more of a regular season thing. I have Patrick Mahomes at 4. And at number 3, I have Joe Burrow. Joe Burrow, in my opinion, is a tough guy to rank. He puts up stats that rivals Lamar and Josh Allen, and probably should keep him ahead of one of them. But also, he doesn't win a ton of games. Those 2 guys are constantly playoff contenders, constantly Super Bowl contenders. And yeah, that's not always Burrow's fault. I mean, he threw 43 touchdowns, 9 interceptions, had a QBR of 74. He finished 4th in MVP voting, partially because his team doesn't win games. If he ended up winning enough games last year, like made the playoffs or something, he probably wins the MVP over Josh Allen. But I don't know, man. It's hard because he has some of the best receivers in the league. He puts up crazy stats, but it's really hard to put him ahead of 2 guys who are going to win a lot of football games. Lamar and Josh are going to be battling for the 1, 2, and 3 seeds in the AFC, while Joe Burrow will be lucky if he gets a wild card spot. So it's kind of like a Drew Brees thing, where he was putting up godly stats. He was better than Brady or Manning for the most part during his career, stat-wise and whatnot. But he just couldn't win games because the Saints were just not a good enough team, and he was never on the same page as Brady and Manning. And I think that's kind of where Joe Burrow falls to. That's why I have Joe Burrow at number 3. At number 2, I have Josh Allen, the reigning MVP. I have him at number 2 for one reason only. Lamar had a better season, in my opinion, last year. And honestly, if you watch the 2 and you watch the 2 play, they're both amazing, and they're easily 1-2 in the NFL during the regular season. He put up 28 touchdowns and 6 interceptions and tied Lamar with the best QBR in the NFL at 77. We'll see Lamar's here in a minute. Josh Allen did have better rushing stats. His a big part of the reason. He adds in an additional 12 rushing touchdowns. Lamar had more rushing yards, but he doesn't rush for touchdowns. So that is a big difference. But even with that, Josh Allen had less touchdowns and overall less yardage and everything than Lamar. I think they both had a fantastic season. And I think, the MVP's earned. Josh Allen should have won one sooner rather than later. Probably even last year. He probably should have kind of won one, or the year before, but he threw so many interceptions, it's hard to win that. But yeah, obviously, well-deserved MVP, but I think Lamar is just slightly better. That's why I have Josh Allen at number 2. Finally, my number 1 quarterback is Lamar Jackson. Lamar threw 41 touchdowns, 4 interceptions, and like I said, tied Josh Allen with a QBR of 77. He was second in MVP voting, but he did get the All-Pro nod, which means it could have went either way. That's why they're 1-2. And honestly, you could swap them all you want, but in my opinion, Lamar is just a little bit better. Some of the stuff he does is just unbelievable. I mean, that one time he bobbled the snap, pushed a guy off, threw a perfect pass and a touchdown against the Bengals. It's kind of crazy. Lamar plays in a tougher division, tougher opponents. That's just kind of where I see it. But let me know what you guys think down in the comment section below. Who do you have at number 1? Do you agree with my top 10? Do you think these are going to be the top 10 quarterbacks going into the next year? Let me know everything down below. I'll see you guys in the next one. Finally, my number 1 quarterback is Lamar.